Good morning friends. Team NGOenabler is back with a video and on a very important topic. The audit season is at its peak. The organizations must be busy in compiling their books and professionals in finalizing the audit reports after all the necessary verifications and corrections in the accounts. So here I am, Ashis Agarwal from Team NGOenabler, to update you once again on the new audit report applicable to the charitable organizations and its applicability criteria. We would also cover in brief the amendments made in the new form compared to the previous forms to make you understand the level of transparency and accountability expected from the auditors of charitable organizations while reporting to the tax authorities. So let's begin. By now, most of you must be aware that the organizations registered under Section 12AB or 1023C needs to file the audit report either in Form number 10B or Form number 10BB, depending on the applicability criteria as laid down in the Notification number 7/2023 released earlier this year by CBDT. Previously, Form number 10B was applicable only to those organizations which were registered under Section 12A, and Form number 10BB was applicable to those organizations which were registered under Section 1023C. Now, both the forms, I repeat, both the forms have been made common to both the type of organizations, whether registered under Section 12A or under Section 1023C. The new Form 10B, which is applicable from assessment year 2023-2024, that is financial year 2022-23 for which the audit is being finalized, is applicable for the organizations having total income more than rupees 5 crores during the previous year, or organizations which have received even a single penny as foreign contribution during the previous year, or the organizations who have spent any amount, I repeat, any amount outside India during the said previous year. This implies if any one of the criteria is being fulfilled, Form number 10B is applicable to those organizations. Else, for the rest, Form number 10BB is applicable if they do not fall within any criteria as discussed. This implies the earlier Form number 10B is completely abolished and the common forms have now been made applicable for the organizations registered under Section 12AB and Section 1023C. Today in this video, I would be discussing in details and updating you with the most recent amendment brought in Form 10B, the tax audit report for charitable organizations. Massive changes have been made in the form, putting a lot of responsibility on the auditors of the charitable organizations, seeking more information and details and certification from them. The auditors are now required to provide and certify a huge lot of information and details containing even the non-financial data. Before starting, to give you a brief background, this new structure of Form number 10B was proposed way back in the budget 2019, but due to the pandemic, the same might have been kept in abeyance. Today, we will discuss what are the changes made as compared to the earlier Form number 10B and what points need to be taken care by the auditors of charitable organizations. First and foremost are the details of the registered office, such as the detailed address, contact number and email ID, which is now required to be given and was not there earlier, along with the PAN of the organization. The name will now be auto-populated once the PAN is filled. Next, that has been completely newly inserted in Form number 10B as a reporting requirement are the details of the legal status of the organization, that is, whether it is a registered trust, society or a Section 8 company, along with the details of such registration, and also the registration under Section 12AB or 1023C or 80G of the Act, which includes the date of the registration, registration approval authority, registration number, and the effective date. Yet another requirement is of filling the details of the governing body or the board of trustees and directors in one of the portions of the form number 10B along with their designation, KYC details, and many more of such things. Then the auditor also needs to select the main purpose or objects of the organization from the list mentioned from the definition of the charitable activities, and if any modification has been done during the previous year, whether the application has been made to the concerned authority and the details of such application. Next reporting requirement is for those organizations which are provisionally registered as per the new provisions laid down in the Act. Such organizations have to fill in the details of their provisional registration and the date of commencement of activities along with the details of the application for final registration if made. So even the details of the provisional and final application has to be certified by the auditor via form number 10B. One of the most important additions made in form 10B and which needs to be filled diligently by the auditors is about the books of accounts maintained by the organizations and the address at which such books are maintained. Remember our video on the notification number 94 by 2022, which was released on 10th August by CBDT, where the books of accounts were specified for the charitable organizations and which were mandatory to be kept. One section of a new form number 10B completely deals with that notification and reporting its compliances. Nature of books maintained, how it is maintained, and the address have to be filled. Indirectly, it's the auditor's responsibility to ensure and report that the books of accounts so specified has been actually maintained or not, because form number 10B has to be digitally signed by the chartered accountant. If the books are maintained at a place other than the registered office, it needs to be filled and the assessing officer needs to be intimated about such change of address. Then, for the organizations who are involved in advancement of general public utility, auditor has to report on the nature of business undertaking, the income derived from it, whether it is incidental to the main object or not, and whether separate books of accounts are kept or not, along with many other small things. Now, the auditor also needs to verify the TDS deducted of the organization by the third party, which is reflected in form 26AS, and its nature of income need to be categorized. I repeat, the nature of income on which the TDS has been deducted of the organization needs to be categorized into the trade, commerce, or business, or any other category specified. Another most important additional reporting included in form number 10B for the auditors is to fill the appropriate column for reason of not furnishing any particular donation in form number 10BD if applicable. I repeat, another most important additional reporting included in form number 10B for the auditors is to fill the appropriate column for reason of not furnishing any particular donation in form number 10BD if applicable. Remember, we have been telling each organization to keep a reconciliation prepared for any mismatch in the donations filed by them in form number 10BD and that actually received. This is where it will become handy now. Only through the reconciliation the organization can make out what was the reason for not filling that particular donation in form number 10BD and then intimate the auditor, which will enable him to fill the appropriate column. Yet another very significant reporting requirement which the auditors have been burdened to report in form number 10BD is bifurcation of application into the object-wise application and whether such application was made in electronic or other than electronic modes. A good amount of effort, I repeat, a good amount of effort shall be involved at the time of auditing, both by the organization as well as auditor, to identify and bifurcate the application object-wise and further into electronic or non-electronic mode. However, one need to understand the intention of the government behind such an inclusion. It is to identify the cash transactions involved and take action against those still involved in huge cash transactions. One also need to report the details of the person whom the payment has been made in excess of rupees 50 lakhs during the year. Such requirement was not there in previous form number 10B. Also, as announced in Budget 2018, the provisions of Section 40A(IA) for non-deduction of TDS and Section 40A(3) in case of cash expenditure above the prescribed limit, that is rupees 10,000 presently, was made applicable to charitable organizations too. Accordingly, in one of the sections of the new form number 10B, the details of the same has been inserted to capture such non-compliances and make the necessary disallowance from the auditor himself or herself. The reporting of such information was already in place and was compulsory in the tax audit report required to be filled for business organizations. Thus, even for charitable organizations, auditors are now required to report on the amounts disallowed due to the cash expenditure above rupees 10,000 made to a single person on a single day, or for the non-deduction of TDS, or the payments if they are made from the corpus and the loans and borrowings, and many other such disallowances which might be there. In fact, the entire computation part, which is also a part of ITR 7, has been incorporated entirely in the new form number 10B and has to be now certified by the auditor, be it the voluntary contributions and other income received during the year, or the application made during the year and its bifurcation into capital and revenue expenditure, and any accumulations made during the previous year. Even the sources of application which forms part of the ITR 7 has to be now reported in new form number 10B. The information of transactions with the specified persons were also there in the old form. However, the clauses have been made more specific and informative, such as the PAN of such person, the details of the property, and many more, which are now required to be filled in the schedule provided. Similar to above, in the Budget 2019, the provisions of Section 269SS and 269T was also made applicable to the charitable organizations, which disallows any acceptance or repayment of loan, deposits, or any specified sum respectively if it is made in cash in excess of the limit prescribed in the aforesaid sections. Accordingly, in the new form number 10B, now the details of such transactions entered into above the limits so specified, which includes the name of the person, PAN, address, amount, mode of transaction, has to be filled. Again, this may be new for the charitable organizations, but the reporting of such information was already in place and was compulsory in the tax audit report required to be filed for the business organizations. So it is nothing new for the auditors who must be dealing both with the charitable organizations and the business organizations. The next additional reporting requirement in the new form number 10B is about the specified violation which has been laid down in the Act for Charitable Organizations and the violation of any other law. Then there are a lot of schedules to be filled for the corpus donation, the accumulation under Section 11 subsection 2, the details of the foreign contribution, the details of the loans and borrowings, and the details of the transactions with the specified persons. So indirectly, it's now the auditor's responsibility to verify all these details and report it via schedule in the new form number 10B. At last, the auditor is now also required to report whether or not the organization is liable to deduct TDS, and if so, the details of the TDS deducted during the year and the date of furnishing the return statements, along with any payment of interest for delay in the TDS compliance. So basically, in short, the government wants to align the information of the tax audit report for charitable organizations with the tax audit report already in place for the business organizations, and also to align it further with the income tax return existing for the charitable organizations. Hope the video was meaningful and we were able to update you on the changes made in the new form number 10B in details. We will soon come up with a video on how to fill the new form number 10B and what are the practical challenges being faced by the auditors or the organizations to compile the details required to be filled. For more details, you can log on to our website or to our Facebook page, and for any query, you can also mail us or comment below. Thank you.